The trip was to Moorea, which is an island in the South Pacific. My wife and I chose that vacation because her highest priority was Overwater Bungalow. There are not a lot of places with overwater bungalows, but we were able to find Moorea, and it was a little less expensive than Bora Bora, and it's a bigger island, a lot less commercial, and this is one of the closer overwater bungalow options. We started out by kind of exploring the resort, which was absolutely beautiful. It is just as pretty as all of the pictures look. I didn't want to just go on a vacation and hang out at the resort the whole time. I wanted to see the area and meet the people and experience the food. So day one, we went on a 4x4 safari tour, which was awesome. We got to explore the island, see some of the best vantage points, including Magic Mountain. And at the top, you got a beautiful view of both bays. From there, we were able to go and see several of the most beautiful spots on the island, but we were also kind of able to orient ourselves with where the town was in relation to our resort. Day two, we did the food tour. Mostly the influence of what makes, I guess, Tahitian food is the local Tahitian culture mixed with some French cuisine. You have a lot of Chinese food influence and some Japanese food influence. So food tour was great. Next thing on our list, swimming with sharks and whales. The whale tour was a beautiful tour. We circumnavigated the entire island on the boat. We found a whale by listening with a microphone under the water, and we kind of spotted it off in the distance. So everyone unloads off the boat into the water, and we start swimming toward where we see the whale. We got out into the deep blue, and the water is deep and dark, and they warn you about these sharks. So we're going to go swimming with sharks later, but they're reef sharks, and reef sharks are fine, according to the locals. The reef sharks you don't have to worry about. They're kind, they're curious, they're nice, but there are these intercontinental black-tipped something sharks, and they're a lot more aggressive than the reef sharks, and they're a little bit more territorial, and they follow the whales. This whale is singing its song throughout, but the song actually gets quite horrifying as it starts to turn into, it sounds like a growl at points. And when you get close to the whale, you could feel the sound of it shaking your insides, which was horrifying. It was overall an amazing experience, but that part was a little bit scary. The water is very deep and dark. So after seeing that, we were able to navigate out to a local area where sharks are consistently located. And we got there. They hooked up and they said climb out, and you can see the sharks just swimming around in the water outside the boat. But true to their promise, the sharks pretty much avoided you unless you turned your back on them, and then they swam toward you a little bit, which is kind of creepy. But awesome experience, beautiful, and I was really glad to be able to do a little bit more with the swimming with sharks, which was kind of a bonus in our initiation to sailing excursion. So fishing trip, they picked us up on the dock. We tried some trolling for big sports fish. We stopped out at a local kind of fishing spot and did some very deep sea bottom fishing. We lost our bait a few times, we never caught anything. So we headed out, and the guide told us, you're looking for birds. He's like, when you see birds, there are fish there. And when he says birds, he doesn't mean like 3 or 4 birds. He means hundreds of birds. So these birds are circling over the water where the big school of Bonito are. So we're over here pulling through these giant swarms of birds in rough ocean, and we caught a couple of fish. It was absolutely awesome. The captain worked really hard to help us make it happen. After catching the fish, we came back in. It stormed on us. We got soaking wet. But we got back to the resort just in time to go out and do our introduction to scuba, which took us out just half a mile from the resort, out into some beautiful water. It started out about 6 or 8 feet deep, off to maybe 12 or 15 feet, which was really fun. Saw some amazing wildlife. It really was incredible how relaxing the scuba diving was. It's just the most incredibly relaxing experience. Some really cool fish. We saw some eels, some stingrays down there. Really just like a highlight of the trip. Then we did the introduction to sailing. This was a pair of brothers. Now, their father had died about 5 years ago, right after they started building the sailboat. It took them 5 years to complete the sailboat, and now they do introduction to sailing and sailing tours around the island. And so they took us on this amazing tour. They taught us how to sail and did some introduction to some of the basic elements. They showed us sea turtles, and they took us snorkeling over to see some tiki. And so it was really cool to go and see those, go and experience them. And then we were able to get back on the canoe and had an awesome little snack that was prepared for us, but had a beautiful sail around the island. We stopped again at the same place to swim with sharks. This time there were far more sharks and stingrays, and we were able to get in the water and experience a bunch of that, which was absolutely amazing. And it helped that the locals were also swimming with the sharks as well. And there were people out there on paddle boards and kids in the water. They really do stand by it. They're quite comfortable around these sharks in this area. But absolutely beautiful. And that was kind of our final excursion. The next day we really took it easy and did some hanging out at the resort, which was really cool. Just right off of our resort, we were able to go down the stairs and do some snorkeling in the bay,